yeah, so just like taking those very financial sustainability mindsets that my parents taught me, and then like, okay, so I can build something for myself and not like really lose a lot of money by making a mistake if you start slow and start sustainable and really like don't overspend. You don't like spend so much money down a path that isn't going to be profitable. You take smaller steps and figure it out. And I think that that's part of why things have gone well for us. Is granted, it's been very slow, but in that slowness, it's working and it's a stronger business.
Welcome to Business with Purpose. I'm your host, Molly Stillman of Still Being Molly, and this show is all about bringing you the stories behind the brands, the companies, and the small businesses that are changing the world. Each week, I get to sit down with an incredible entrepreneur, community activist, writer, speaker, just an incredible person who is trying to make a positive impact, not only through their personal life, but also with their career. My goal is to show you, the listener, that no matter what you do for a living, you can make an impact wherever you are. My guest this week is my dear friend, Stephanie Edwards. She is the founder of Jubilee Trading Company, in addition to also running another e-commerce brand, Highland Decor. She grew up on a farm in rural Estill Springs, Tennessee, and little did she know that the entrepreneurial spirit of her family ruined her for any other traditional career path. After studying journalism and art at the University of Tennessee, she moved to another tiny town in Tennessee, Leoma, where she lives with her husband and 2 kids and runs her handmade businesses online. What began as a freelance graphic design business evolved into running these 2 e-commerce brands, Highland Decor and Jubilee Trading. And as a handmade business owner, she loves advocating for conscious consumerism. I loved this conversation with Stephanie. She is one of my dear, dear friends. We have met in real life, and I have loved watching her businesses grow over the last couple of years. If you follow our farm account online, Say La Farm, our logo was actually designed by Stephanie, and her company, Highland Ridge, actually made our farm signs that are at the end of our driveway. And she is just incredible. She's incredible. She has such an incredible vision and heart for conscious consumerism and supporting small businesses and running ethical businesses and also e-commerce and so many things. She's a wealth of knowledge, and this is such a rich episode. You are going to love this conversation. But before I get to my chat with Stephanie, I want to thank our partner of the show, and that is Mama Suds. After a long, cozy winter inside, it is time to bust open the windows, grab those Mama Suds germ cleaners, and get to cleaning. From the windows to the walls to floors, upholstery, carpets, you name it, Mama Suds has a truly safe product to help you clean it. We have personally used Mama Suds in our home for years. We love their multi-purpose, all-purpose cleaner. We love their Castile soap, their laundry soap, their toilet bombs, all of it. They're not only safe, but also effective. They work. Oh my gosh, I love this stuff so much. So head on over to mamasuds.com and use the coupon code MOLLY for 15% off your order. Now on to my conversation with Stephanie Edwards. I'm so excited to have my dear friend, Stephanie Edwards, with me on the show this week. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing great. It is like rainy and gray over here. So this is like a ray of sunshine for my day. I'm so excited to be chatting with you.
You're a ray of sunshine for my day. So it's, very convenient. So Stephanie and I have known each other for a couple of years now. And I just like to go back because when we met in person, it was January of 2020 and the world looked real different then. And I just think about, so we went on my friend M. Gray and I were hosting a business retreat, and Stephanie came on it, and we obviously immediately became friends. By the end of that week, like all of us were just like, the best of friends, and it was just so much fun. And, but then we'd set these like 2020 business goals and all these things.
What a joke.
We were adorable.
What a joke.
We were
so cute. I do love to like stop and remember, I just like walked into this Airbnb with a dozen ladies I'd never met, and we all just hugged. It was awesome. Hugged back then. Man, I miss hugs. I'm ready to start hugging again.
It was so much fun. And I had Jenny Nuccio, who also attended that retreat. She was on the podcast earlier this year, maybe last summer. I don't know. All the
time.
Time. What is time? What is time? And Jenny and I talked about how because she was flying in from Kenya and she flew in a day early. Oh man.
I remember that. We like walked in. She was just like, oh yeah,
she's like,
here.
Hey,
I know the drill.
I'm at the Airbnb. And we're like, what?
What?
Wait, I mean, thankfully, Emily and I were already there, but we were at a different Airbnb. Anyway, it was a whole thing.
Gosh.
That maybe should have been like
so
our first, like 2020
times.
was going to be an interesting year.
So weird.
But regardless, since that time, we've gotten to know each other, and you run two incredible businesses, which we're going to talk about. And I just love your heart. You've done a TEDx talk. You've done so much in the last 2 years. So
been busy.
It has, even though we've all, hashtag RIP 2 weeks to slow the spread. I don't know. Anyway, we're moving on.
That was also cute.
So, but let's dive in. So Stephanie, give me the Stephanie 101. So who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you are today.
All right. So I'm going to go way back because surprisingly, your childhood really shapes how you turn out. So I grew up on a farm. And so not a casual backyard farm, but multi-generational 2,000 total acres kind of deal. And I spent my summers roaming the back 80 acres at my parents' house until I aged up to where I could reach the clutch and was strong enough to push it in on a tractor. And so then I was driving tractors all summer. So by fourth grade, we were working. It wasn't fun time. It was fun. But so then in high school, my great grandfather passed away, and his home place was half a mile from where my parents' house was, and he had about 40 acres there. And being entrepreneurial, my parents sat us all down and kind of explained details. And as a family, we decided together to open a seasonal corn maze and pumpkin patch on his property, calling it Granddaddy's Farm. And so this was my parents' way of getting us a start in life. We were never given an allowance. We always had to even as the fourth grader driving a tractor, we were keeping our log sheets of okay, how much did we work? And then we would get paid. And so we didn't have a college fund or a nest egg saved up. My parents didn't save up, but they started a business for us as giving us our leg up in flying the nest. And so that business is how I bought my first car and how I put myself through college debt free.
Wow.
So there's major work ethic, right? But I am the rebellious middle child, so I absolutely hated all of this. It was the worst. So I would dream as a kid. I vividly remember this, wishing my dad would just give up this legacy of all of the farming generations and become a mechanic or something normal. So that way we could have vacations that were longer than 4 or 5 days, and we could go further than just the mountains nearby. And I had this obsession from as far back as I could remember of globes and maps, and I hoarded National Geographic magazines and couldn't wait to get out of Dodge as soon as possible. So went off to college and studied photojournalism because A, I wanted to travel the world, and B, I had gotten interested in high school in social justice issues. And so I thought that was a career path that was sure to help me have an impact and help these big issues that I'd been tracking. And so this all works out until summer of my junior year. I take an internship in Haiti. And so this was 2011, the year after the big earthquake. And it was just super eye-opening. And I came back with all of my pictures and all of my stories and was super excited to tell everybody that I could talk to about it. And I quickly realized that nobody cared. And it was okay, so here I am. I've always wanted to do this journalism career path, telling stories and fostering change. And what I really noticed is that it was the boots on the ground, people there doing things, making that lasting change. So while we were in Haiti, I had a chance to visit a artisan group, which was just this brand new concept. This is 2011. and brand new to me. And it blew my mind watching this lady who was training people to take like discarded flat tires and make flip-flops out of them. And I was like, wow. So this was the same way of my parents not like getting me a college fund, but giving me a business instead. If you don't have anything, what you need is opportunity, and you need something sustainable. You don't need like a handout to like give you food for the next day, because it only lasts you the next day. So when there's no one to hire you, you start your own business. So ironically, that's what I ended up having to do. So I fell in love with the first boy I met in college, as you do. And immediately after graduation, we got married. And first thing I did was cash out of the family farm. I was ready for my own career path and worked for 2 years at entry-level job. And then my husband took a job with his own family's small business in rural Tennessee. So I found myself in the middle of nowhere with a journalism and art degree during a recession.
Yep.
So that is the stuff quarter life crises are made of.
Yes, they are.
So like I learned in Haiti, I got scrappy and started my own business. I leaned into the one graphic design class that I took in college and barely understood at the time, and layered on some Google University and started freelance work. And since I had no resume or portfolio, I started an Etsy shop because I had seen people on Instagram with Etsy shops. And so I started selling like digital download printable art until I had made enough sales to buy a printer. And so then I started printing and shipping. So coincidentally, around this time, my dad acts on his dream of buying a CNC plasma cutter, so a computer-driven machine that uses a torch to cut sheet metal. And a really smart salesperson was like, if you know a graphic designer, y'all can really do something. So it's like, I know how to run an Etsy shop, so here we go. And that was 2015. 4 years later, I was looking around and was like, okay, so now we're a lot busier doing this than my dad probably ever anticipated. I mean, he's a full-time farmer. He did not need like this other thing going on. But
and I love, by the way, that your dream of like separating yourself from your father's business led you to going into business with your dad. So it's very ironic.
It's very ironic, but I am in charge on this one. Yeah. So now he works for me. Yeah. Never say never. Don't ever say you're going to leave a tiny town and never come back. Don't ever say you're not going to work with your family. Yeah. God has a great sense of humor.
Yeah, he does.
About 4 years in, I was like, all right, so I've learned a lot. I'm doing well at this, but my dad doesn't need me to grow this business. And I had always wanted to do something that was impacting others, not myself. So in 2019, I decided to start Jubilee Trading Company. So the dream was a artisan-made home decor ethical trade brand. And I had no artisan partner lined up, but I started sending out feelers to any relationship that I'd ever made with anyone overseas and developing areas. Anybody knew anybody. And I had one option out of like 40 emails that opened up with a leather worker in Morocco. And so we started talking, and he was an established craftsman, but he didn't have a good enough outlet in his community to like really sustain his family. So he was looking for someone like me who knew a little bit about e-commerce and was willing to import and then sell locally. So here we are. So we've been together since 2019 and slowly getting our feet under us. I was very pregnant at the time whenever we got connected. And then 2020 happened. And so that was chaotic, but 2021 was a good year for us, and we're kind of getting our feet under us. So times are very exciting these days. So that's like the framework.
I love it. That's awesome. And so here you are, you have all this different entrepreneurial background and entrepreneurial experience, and then you're running two e-commerce brands and, one obviously focusing on kind of here, producing your own products. And actually our farm signs were made by Highland Ridge Decor, and we love them so much. So, and my husband's business sign. So we're obviously big fans over here.
Yes, Molly's a sweet customer. I don't think I actually said Highland Ridge Decor.
Yeah, and we get compliments on them all the time. People always say like, "Oh, I love your sign so much." So, and then obviously seeing the growth that you've had even through COVID with Jubilee Trading has been amazing. I want to talk about some of those things and why you went that route, but I want to actually kind of go back and talk a little bit more about one of the really unique things that you shared that, your parents didn't have a nest egg for you. They didn't have college savings for you. They started a business for you, and how, I would love to kind of hear your perspective on what that was like as a kid to be thrown into, entrepreneur, and like maybe what at the time you were like, this is stupid, or whatever it is.
So stupid.
Versus like what you now are like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I had that experience and I had, this, that, and the other. Cause it was, and it wasn't even a year round business. It was a seasonal business. So how did you walk us through kind of what,
oh man. Yeah.
Teenage Stephanie was thinking.
So like I said, I was an obnoxious little teenager. So the corn maze and pumpkin patch was the second level of business that my parents put us into. It first started, so about fifth grade, my dad had the idea of, he's got all these cornfields, and it's an easy upsell of, okay, you take the corn bundles and you do those decorative fall deals. And so we would sell bundles of corn to garden centers and produce stands around Middle Tennessee. And so that started in fifth grade. And I remember that was our first, that's a seasonal thing, obviously. And so that was my first real paycheck. And because we would, at the end of the season, split everything appropriately. And so that was working for months. And then at the end of the season, get your payout. And I remember that my brother that first year we bought a Nintendo 64.
Oh, fancy
off
stuff.
eBay. Oh yeah. We just thought we were so cool because we bought our own Nintendo. So really cool. So that was really fun. Not fun, but very valuable, I would say.
Yeah. Learning
real work, and then that equals a paycheck. And then the thing about a seasonal job is that you get paid once, and then that's it for a while, which was very good budgeting for me, with hearing people who end up at the end of the week with $3 and waiting for their next paycheck. I mean, that could never have been me, because I would get paid once a year and then budget around that. Granted, I was a kid, I didn't have bills, but by the time we started Granddaddy's Farm, I was a sophomore in high school, and that was all right, you got to save up for your own car and the gas money that comes with it. And so that was even higher level of okay, we're planting pumpkins, we are mowing out a corn maze, we're doing all this stuff over the summer, and then open for 6 weeks in the fall. And then it was just full on, okay, you go to school and then you come home and you feed the chickens and the goats, and you work all weekend long of I was the concession stand girl. So I would do the nachos and hot dogs and all that business. So yeah, I could see from my parents' perspective now, how good parenting that was. But as a teenager, it was oh my gosh. So my best friend is always going to the pool, or different family vacations that folks would have. And we would go to the Smoky Mountains, which is 4 or 5 hours away from where I grew up, every single year. That was our one thing. It was the same vacation every year. And I would have to beg to get to go to the pool for a birthday party. But, it was very responsibility heavy.
Yeah.
And so now that's ruined me. Like I can't not work at this point because I've been working my entire life, you know? But then in college, I was still part owner in Granddaddy's farm. We had all bought in initially. We didn't have very much, but we all pooled together to get some of the first startup supplies. And then at the end of each season, then we would distribute profits. And so, like I said, that's how I paid for my own college. So I would get paid like every November after we finished. And that was my tuition for the next 2 semesters.
Wow.
So that was like, okay, always saving. And so I didn't deal with those like coming of age financial struggles that a lot of people deal with, because thankfully that was impossible for me, but really good. And so that's gotten me pretty far, I think.
Yeah. I think about, just the myriad of lessons that I feel like you learn through that. Yeah. And, like being able to understand profit and loss and dividends and distribution and taxes.
Don't get me wrong. I really don't understand that stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Anymore.
But, having like a general concept idea of those things and, being able to budget and know how to really look at, okay, if this is the only money that's going to be coming in for question mark period of time, got to make it last. And so how do you do that? And that's a skill that, let's be honest, is not widely taught these days.
I've realized that as I've gotten older and have like financial conversations with other people, and I'm just like, so why do you think that you can afford that car?
Right. It's amazing. It's amazing. Like just the different money mindsets. And this isn't even like, we weren't even really going to go down the rabbit hole of like money stuff, but it's a fascinating thing. And it's something that, I keep trying to, even on my kids' levels at the ages of 8 and 6, like, explain to them that like, and it's like, there's so many times where like things come out of my mouth and I go, oh, why did I say that? I sound like my parents, like money doesn't grow on trees. Like, but those are invaluable lessons and really, really difficult lessons for parents to teach and for kids to learn.
Yeah. And so that's been a great, like, foundation for a sustainable business model. I had kind of dreamed of having an artisan partnership business for a long time, but I didn't know how to sell things. So that was another reason why, I'll start an Etsy shop and I'll like see how it goes before layering on, involving other people's lives in it. But since I had always wanted to do something that did like involve other people, I had this weight of responsibility. I have to do this right. Like if I'm going to teach sustainability, like I have to start it sustainably. So I am very proud that I never put a dime into like personal money into any of my businesses. I started my Etsy shop selling digital downloads. And so like you don't have to buy anything. I had like my computer, my graphic design software, and people would pay $5 and download my art. And so then I took like that pool of money and bought my printer. And so then started printing and shipping. And then granted, my dad did buy his machine. So that was his thing. But yeah, so whenever I started Jubilee and actually started like buying inventory from a different party, I had already saved up from my savings from Highland Ridge to be like, okay, so here's the nest egg that I've created for myself to start this new business venture. And so just like taking those very financial sustainability mindsets that my parents taught me, and then like, okay, so I can build something for myself and not like really lose a lot of money by making a mistake if you start slow and start sustainable and really like don't overspend. You don't like spend so much money down a path that isn't going to be profitable. You take smaller steps and figure it out. And I think that that's part of why things have gone well for us. Is granted, it's been very slow, but in that slowness, it's working and it's a stronger business.
No, I think those are really valuable just lessons in general. And just the way that you've really focused on sustainability in so many different aspects, and using your talents and skills in addition to the things that you've learned along the way in order to create these businesses. And I didn't even think about the fact that like you basically designed our farm logo when we made our sign. I was just like, I love this so much. Like, this is our logo. So things like that you have such a wide range of skills. But that kind of leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about. And I know that this is a little bit of what you talked about in your TEDx talk, which I will try to link to that in the show notes for people, so people can see your TED talk. And you get to like have it be like, did you at the end say, thank you for coming to my TED talk? Because if I ever did a TED talk, that's exactly what I would say is I would thank you for coming to my TED talk.
I was way too nervous to be snarky.
Because I would have absolutely 100% said that. So I wonder how many TED speakers have ever said that at the end. Is there a statistic somewhere? Someone send me an email. Let me know how I find that out. So, but you talked, you just talk about like the power that consumers have as with their purchases and things like that. Now, obviously, this is something that I have spoken about ad nauseum a few times on this show, ad nauseum on this show about this topic. But one of the things that I know you really focus on too is just small scale entrepreneurship, small scale businesses, and how you don't have to be, a large corporation or even a large nonprofit or even like a, quasi large ethical brand to make an impact, and how, a company with one artisan partner, one owner, like you can make a difference. So I'd love for you to kind of talk about that and your personal experience and like why, we always hear like, oh, shop small businesses, but like talk to us about the actual impacts of those things.
Yeah, man. So back when I was selling pumpkins, that seasonal business, we were open 6 weeks a year. And we were a local business. People won't drive probably more than an hour to go spend, time in a pumpkin patch.
Right.
So it was our community during a small season would shop with us. And okay, so like how many people sell pumpkins in the fall? Like, a lot of people. And it's really easy to just like grab some pumpkins while you're at Walmart doing your own grocery shopping. But the fact that people would drive, we were like 15, 20 minutes out of town. People would come to us and get their pumpkins, get some mums, their fall decor. Choosing us is exactly what paid my way through college. Like very literally. Yeah. People buying their pumpkins. How many pumpkins do you buy a year? Like some people buy one, some people might buy 10. I don't know. But
I don't know. I've seen some pretty pumpkin crazy people.
There are some pretty pumpkin crazy people. But that's one purchase a year. That's not even like this big thing. It's not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go and spend $500. I'm going to really figure out no, this is very casual, very everyday purchase. But it made a huge difference in my life because that is like what got me out into the world. And that concept of shopping small and intentional started with me very young because of that. And so then as I moved toward selling online, it was different because with our metal art, that's a complicated machine. Right. It costs a lot of money, and just the pricing we had to do, metal costs something, you know. And I found out early on that the pricing structure that we had to have wasn't a great fit for my tiny town, no low cost of living area. And people didn't want to spend a lot of money on something that could be considered a trinket. And while I sold in local stores, it was selling online that was most of our stuff. Even today, for both of my brands, New York and California are definitely more where we ship to. Oh, and I'm really over here in Middle Tennessee. Yeah. And so the shop local movement didn't quite work for me as an adult because my products weren't a great fit for my local market. But it's these people, even in other places, that are choosing intentionally to shop small and shop with this heartwarming father-daughter business that's the only reason I had a business, and it's not like, oh, I'm just like way overpriced and it's a pity buy. And, well, I can only like make a business if like these rich people are buying from me or something. But it just the nature of the beast of some things cost more than others. And
right.
yeah, so people shopping intentionally with me was part of why I went toward this ethical shopping slant of, okay, so I've been on the receiving end of this. It is just people like Molly. Molly's one of my customers. You contacted me whenever you wanted your sign made of like, hey, I love your business. I want someone like you making my signs. And that's so great. You know where your stuff came from, and it supported us in our work. And so now that I work with artisans in Morocco, so I have one primary partner that I like talk with, and then he has an assistant. And then whenever we have large orders, they send work out to other people in their community that have the same skills. So that way we can like get through orders quicker. And this was huge with the timing of our partnership because we started talking in 2019 and we launched like at Thanksgiving 2019. And, next year was this huge shutdown. And we were still a little too starting out to do a lot of work in 2020. And they had really strict lockdowns over there. But especially for 2021, like it was slow tourist season and tourists are his like bread and butter for people actually buying from him. And so after 2020 and then going into 2021 with slow tourism, it was our work that like really kept them like paying their bills and able to keep their heads above water.
Right.
Which is huge. Like I would consider us a small business. We're not like a big timer. And just with the trickle of orders and steady work that I was able to give him and his one partner, like those were two families that weren't stressed about making ends meet that year. And that's big. Like every life that can be impacted is big. And then as we get momentum, we're able to share that a little more and expand a little more. But yeah, it's been really, really impactful seeing like the real faces that we're working with and being like, I went to Morocco finally in November of 2021. And so I got to meet everybody in person and I stayed in the same, like my translator and my primary partner live in like a duplex situation. And I stayed with them there and had like Sunday lunch with their families with traditional couscous and all that. And yeah, I lived with them for a week. And like seeing that, okay, wow, because of the, like some people would consider us piddling almost. I work 25 hours a week. I have small kids.
Yeah.
That we're making a real difference, you know? It's really, really encouraging.
That's so awesome. Now, pandemic aside.
Oh man.
Pandemic aside, what has been one of the biggest challenges in launching a business like this? I always think about like, I'm always fascinated by like logistics of shipping stuff. And like, it just, all of that is just seems like a lot. Like, I'm always like, I should start something like this. Like I'm like, that's why I've run all these businesses that I don't have to sell things. Like I have like my podcast and, and like speaking, I don't have to, it's just me. It's just me. Like I don't have to drop ship anything. But I always like have this idea of like, what I should do is like, and my husband has this weird dream of owning a warehouse and like having, I don't know why. I don't know. Okay.
We need to talk.
I don't understand this. I don't understand this. He thinks it's really cool to like, he's like, I want to have a warehouse where we just like have racks of stuff to ship and sell. And I'm like, why? Yeah. Why is this a thing that you have a dream of? I don't know. It's very weird. When we were in Austin, Texas, a couple of years ago, we had gone and visited the offices and workshops for Matterboomy, which is a fair trade brand.
Very cool. Yeah.
Love them. And
I've got some of their stuff.
Yeah, they're great. And it was so funny because we were walking around the warehouse and my husband was just like, this is awesome. This is what I want. And I was just like, no, this seems like a lot of work. What? Why? No, is this something you want? Anyway.
The same way, like I was I remember in fourth grade, my birthday present was this like white erase board and a collection of markers and a filing cabinet. I was just like, this is so cool. Like office supplies are awesome.
Yeah.
And no, whenever we were on our retreat in 2020 together, we went to the Able
warehouse. Same there.
Yeah.
Same
and
thing.
I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I went home and I was like, I want like cool branded packing tape. And so we've got this like industrial crank tape thing that like spits out this beautiful packing tape. I'm just like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I know. You know what?
So
I think,
fun.
well, my daughter is one of the, so she's 8 and I really think that she's an entrepreneurial spirit at heart, even though she hasn't actually started any actual businesses, but she constantly has business ideas. But I should have known that was the case when for her, I want to say for Christmas, for like when she was 2, we gave her reams of paper. Like it was just reams of paper.
Yes.
And she was like,
yep.
This is the greatest Christmas present of my life, was reams of paper. So I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. But back to your question.
Yes.
Challenges.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful that God like slowly layered this on, where I like started with a cute little Etsy shop and then like started shipping and then started with more complex things. And so like with my dad, I can design something on my computer. It's just graphic design software. I email it to him. He puts it in his machine. It cuts it out. He does his elbow grease and makes it nice. And then like, that's it. Yeah. It's done. So now that I'm partnering with somebody across the world, and so my partner speaks a Berber dialect. And so like, it's nothing that I can find on Duolingo.
That's
to
good.
like, there's no Google Translate voice thing. So I have to have my translator there. And granted, he's really helpful and very sweet to spend lots of time with us. But both of them are like the age of my dad, actually.
Yeah.
So thankfully, I already have practice working with my dad. But so we're over here like discussing designs for home decor and trendy things. And like my translator is trying to figure out like how to translate the word for a tassel. And then like my partner knows what it is, but like it has to get communicated to him. And then like picking out fabric for liners for bags from a distance with a language barrier is just like, oh my gosh. But we get there. We all are very patient with one another. And like today, my translator's traveling. And so he's not like where my partner is. And so I was going through a box of product that I just got and super excited about. And I noticed just like a quirk of like, hey, this is fine. Like, it's not like these are not sellable, but next time could you do this? And so it's like, okay, videoing myself, explaining and touching and sending it to my translator, who's not even in town, who will then send it back to my guy. And just like, it's so much more convoluted now.
Yeah. Because you're now, it's like, and it's almost like a game of telephone. And you're like, I really hope this is coming across.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then like my dad, I do live an hour and a half from my dad now. So like we try and get together like every 2 weeks to get product swapped. But still like it's a really quick turnaround for I make something or I ask for something and I get it and I can ship it. So like your signs that were custom, within 2 weeks of us finishing it, like they were shipped to you. Whereas like with my leather work, it's like, okay, I have to like figure out how to explain this, not only like explaining my idea, but explaining my idea through somebody who is not like part of the craft. And then them getting samples made. And then it takes 2 weeks to ship to us. And then if I want like 30 of them, I'm going to have to wait like a month. And it's really slow, but it's worth it.
It teaches you just a little bit of patience.
Just a little bit. With 2020, I had designed tote bags, and it was our first bags we were going to carry. They were very simple. I remember I designed them and sent them before Thanksgiving 2019. And then I didn't receive them because COVID until like October 2020.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So lots of patience, lots of patience.
How was it like finally getting to go to Morocco
Oh
and
my gosh.
see it? And what was your favorite part?
So like going back to the girl that hoarded National Geographics and like was memorizing the globe. I've done lots of traveling as a grown up. My husband and I love to go on adventures, but finally having like that job where like, this is my job to go do this. So
Right.
whenever I got married and had to get a new passport, change my name, I opted for like the 52-page passport. It's a free upgrade to get lots of pages. And I was just like, I'm going to plan for the future and get the passport with lots of pages.
Oh,
And I was like, this is going to happen, you know? And so, no, I have tons of pages left over. My passport's about to expire, but next time, but still. So like that, that God had put in my heart, like as a kid of like, I want to go and be a part and be a light. And especially like having to start from scratch back whenever we moved to Middle Tennessee, it was just like, I boohooed all the way to the airport.
yeah.
It's like an hour and a half drive of like, wow, this is really happening. I am flying off to be a part of this and like meet these people that, granted, we've already been working with each other for over 2 years, but this is real now.
Yeah.
But then landing there and like, I didn't bring new products to work on. It was just like, okay, I got to soak this up and like learn so much on this first trip. And yeah, that like, you can't put a price tag on context and just understanding what you're working with and seeing just the meeting everyone's family, of course, but hanging out, just spending time together, being equals instead of this like coming together with, okay, we've got a plan and we've all got places to be and dinners waiting on us and like talking on business, but just like getting to know each other. And like, this was after Halloween. So I brought like Halloween candy for their kids. And it was just like so cute. It was so fun. Just like having that human time together and like getting to know each other was just like priceless.
I love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
What is, kind of on the horizon for you in 2022?
Oh man. So we are launching a new spring summer. It was the spring collection. Now it's turning into the summer collection because
Yeah.
But this is really fun. I'm working with an interior designer to so instead of me just combing Pinterest trying to figure out like what people would like, working with someone who's in that space to really fill some holes in our product offerings and like test out some new cool opportunities. So we're launching pillows. I'm very excited about having some pillows.
Very fancy.
Yes. So being more intentional about, okay, we're not just like getting a business started here. Let's like really figure out, okay, where we need to go. And we had a good year with wholesale last year. And so like, okay, now we know what stores want because we've got like some obvious bestsellers. And I'm excited to be really intentional and like start channeling some good business mindsets on that front. And yeah, that's really exciting, like starting some intentional product design. So we hope to have a lot of new things. We've got 10 new items that will trickle out over the course of the spring, summer, and then hopefully have another set of items right before Christmas. So fingers crossed. I don't plan for much in like very finite terms anymore, but that's our hope. We're pretty excited.
Well, everything that you make is beautiful. And I know that whatever you come out with is going to be beautiful as well. And I'm just really excited to continue to see your businesses grow and the impact that you're having. So thank you so much, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you, Molly. It's so fun to be in this together.
We are in this together. That's right.
We are in this together.
Okay. Well, now is the portion of the show where we just ask some fun, get to know you questions. And then, all right. So are you ready?
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
All right. Question number 1 is, what is your current guilty pleasure?
Oh man, guilty pleasure. Let's see. So I have a 4-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and they're both like wild and crazy right now. So like It's the quiet time of, okay, let's like watch something on TV that is not animated and does not have jingles. So we take it like one bite at a time. I think so. Right now, Charlie and I, my husband, are working on Ted Lasso, and that's been like a really, really fun one. So yeah, like a really fun, lighthearted TV show is the thing right now.
Ted Lasso's our jam. Love it. They actually just started filming season 3. Well, as of we're recording this, they will have been filming it for like a month. So I'm very excited. Very, very excited.
Know, you are on top of this.
I'm on top of it. I've been waiting. So,
well, we're instantly all in.
Exactly. Okay. So I thought this would be a fun one for you. So for no reasons that are bad, so I don't want to send you to like a negative place in your head, but for no reasons that are bad, tomorrow you had to shut down all of your businesses. Okay. And you had to start something completely new. What business would you start?
Oh, for some weird reason, I was thinking about this weekend. I would have a greenhouse for sure.
I love it. See,
instantly.
Entrepreneurs know the answer to this question. And that's why I had it.
You can, only Molly can see, but I have like a mini greenhouse.
Yeah, you do have a lot of plants.
Like, this is only one small slice of my indoor plant collection.
I love it.
I may have a problem.
No, there's no problem. It's all good. I love it so much. Okay.
Yeah.
What is your current favorite book or movie that you have read or watched this year?
Man, okay. So this is like really sad because I have been in a like enjoying movies and books desert of time lately. But something, and you said in the last year?
Yeah, just in the last year.
Okay. Yeah. I've been digesting a lot of Bob Goff for sure.
Love him. Love him.
So like Dream Big just came out somewhat recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year.
I pick up Bob Goff. Okay. Pick up Bob Goff as like, I need a personal cheerleader right here. And it just always gets me pumped up. Very excited.
I know. Well, so one of our goats is named Sweet Maria and everyone thinks it's named after Sweet Maria Goff.
I've noticed that.
Which I'm like, she's not named after Bob Goff's wife.
I don't know.
Well, that is incorrect. Okay. So
what's she named after?
Well, her sons are named Kix and Ronnie, as in Brooks and Dunn. And there's a famous song called My Maria. And in the song, he says, Sweet Maria. So that's
My Maria.
Yeah. Sweet Maria.
That takes me back to driving tractors with the country radio on.
Yeah. All of our goats have country music inspired names. So we've got Kix,
you've got like a Waylon and Willie, right?
Waylon and Willie.
Remember. Yeah.
Waylon and Willie. Those
I
are
like
her new the babies that were born in November. So anyway, it's good times. It's good times. Okay. And then my last question is the question I ask all my guests. And that is, Stephanie,
all right,
what does it mean to you to run a business with purpose?
Oh man, that is like showing up every day, knowing that the stuff that I'm slaving away on is serving somebody beyond just me, and knowing that, all right, this may be dumb, like taxes and inventory, but dang it, the world is going to be a brighter place because I am showing up and being faithful and doing this and giving it my best. So that's it.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks.
Stephanie, I really appreciate you and I'm cheering you on.
Thanks, Molly.
Did I not tell you that Stephanie is the best? We just had so much fun. And I just wish I could sit down each week with, people that I personally know, but I'm not going to lie. Every week, it's so fun to sit down with somebody new and different and hear their stories. And I can't wait for next week's episode. You are not going to want to miss it because one of my other dear friends, Mary Morantz, is coming back on the show. She was back on the show a couple of years ago. It's been a while. It's time for her to come back because she's got a new book coming out. And oh my goodness, we both laughed. We cried through our conversation. It is one of the most powerful episodes I have done in a really long time, so you are not going to want to miss it. Now, as usual, I would love to know what you loved about this episode, or if there was something that you learned, please let me know on social media. Tag me at Still Being Molly or at Business with Purpose Podcast on Instagram or Facebook. Use the hashtag Business with Purpose Podcast. Share the show with a friend because that is free for you to do and is a huge, huge, huge help for me. Thank you so much for supporting the show week in and week out. Be sure to head on over to whichever podcast platform you like best, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, wherever, and click the subscribe or follow button to make sure that you never miss a new episode of the show. And would you take a moment to leave a review for me? Leaving a review helps me to know what you're liking and how the show is personally impacting you. This show is produced by the incredible team at Third Wheel Media. Thank you so much for listening. Now go do something good with purpose on purpose.